In this video we're going to look at the topic of adjective endings, and it's not a particularly straightforward topic, so you need to please be paying attention today and making sure that you take really good notes. And also, on top of taking good notes and paying attention, don't feel that you're getting it wrong if you can't get this immediately. It'll take you a good at least a month, probably several years, to get this absolutely right so that you know exactly how the adjective endings work. That's totally normal, but it is well worth just putting in the time and so that you start to understand how these endings work. And the thing you need to be doing in that time is to keep looking back at the tables that we're going to show you in a second to make sure that you understand how to look it up and work out what the correct ending is instead of guessing. So, first questions first.
Do the endings of the adjectives change?
I'm afraid they do, but here's one situation which is quite straightforward. If you have an adjective which is being used not before a noun, then you don't need to add an ending. So we have two examples here.
Der Hund ist alt, das Kind ist klein.
So in each of those two situations, the adjective, which is bold and underlined, alt and klein, are both after the noun that they're describing. So in this situation, there's no ending at all. However, if you put the adjective before a noun, like at the bottom of the screen, we do have an ending. So we've got
Der alte Hund, das kleine Kind.
And that little e that's gone on to the end of the adjective is the ending. And it could be one of a number of different things, as we'll see in a second. But how do we know which ending to add? Well, it depends on a number of factors. So we'll go through these one by one.
The endings depend on the article before the noun, definite article, indefinite article, or no article.
And if you're still not 100% sure what these mean, the definite article is the word for the. So in German, der, die, das, or anything on the der, die, das table. The indefinite article is the word for a or an in English. So in German, we're thinking about things which are ein, eine, ein, and the whole table that goes with that. And then there are situations, for example, a little phrase like big dogs, angry birds, red shoes, where there is no a or the, it's just an adjective and a noun together. Those tend to be plural, by the way, very often, they're almost always plural. And then we're in a situation where there's no article at all, so it's a different table that you need to look at. And what you'll see as we go through the notes here is that you have a table for each of these situations. There's a definite article table, there's an indefinite article table, and there's a no article or adjective-only table. Once we've worked out which table we're going to look it up on, then we need to know
the gender of the noun,
the case that the noun is in,
and the number of the noun, singular or plural.
So let's get straight in and have a look at one of these tables. This one's for the definite article, so if we're having der, die, or das, or any of the words which are associated with that. And you can see, and we will read these out so you can hear them, because they're not always entirely intuitive the way it sounds. And you can see that the endings here is either e or en in different places on this table. And you just need to know whether you're in the nominative, accusative, dative, and whether the thing that you're talking about is masculine, feminine, neuter, or plural. So we'll read across this table just so you can hear the endings.
Der kleine Hund,
Die neue Uhr,
das alte Haus,
die alten Häuser.
den kleinen Hund,
Die neue Uhr,
das alte Haus,
die alten Häuser.
dem kleinen Hund,
Der neuen Uhr,
dem alten Haus,
den alten Häusern. And this table also works for adjectives which are following the words dieser, dieses, and dieser. All those basically mean this, which is something you will see as you go on through GCSE. Then we have the indefinite article table. This is the one that follows ein. And again, we'll read them across because then you can start to hear the difference. And actually at speed, the ER ending that we see in the top left-hand corner here sometimes sounds just like a single E anyway, so we'll read these across and you can see how they sound. Obviously no plural here because we don't have a plural for the word a. But you will find that if you're using mein, for example, which follows this table, or kein, they also would need to be here. And I'll show you the full tables, all three tables, which I'm sure your teacher will give you and put you in your book in just a second. So let's have the top line of Frau Peters.
Ein kleiner Hund.
Eine neue Uhr.
Ein altes Haus.
And then the accusative we have einen kleinen Hund.
Eine neue Uhr.
Ein altes Haus. And dative?
Einem kleinen Hund.
Einer neuen Uhr.
Einem alten Haus.
Very good. And as it says at the bottom here, these endings also follow kein and the possessive pronouns mein, dein, and sein. And all the others, even if they don't have ein in. So ihr, unser, euer, all of those as well. And then we have adjectives with no preceding article. So some people call this the adjective-only situation. And we have things like cool water, which is
Kaltes Wasser.
blue eyes,
Blaue Augen.
and new books.
Neue Bücher.
And as I said earlier on, very often these are plural. So here are some examples. We have grüner Tee,
Frische Luft.
warmes Wasser,
Blaue Augen.
and we'll do it in the different cases for you. Accusative is
Grünen Tee.
frische Luft
Warmes Wasser.
und blaue Augen. And the dative,
Grünem Tee.
frischer Luft
Warmem Wasser.
und blauen Augen. And to begin with, this can be daunting, but you have to work through it a little bit slowly, and your English speakers are rarely going to get these all absolutely right, speaking spontaneously. We obviously try to get them right, but the good news is they don't very often, if at all, change the meaning. And here are the three tables altogether. So, and these tables you do need to be able to recall from memory. So we have the der, die, das table, and you can see that the endings here, with the exception of that, the bit which is highlighted with a sort of grey-brown background, the endings there are all en, apart from inside that grey-brown background, which is where the endings are e. And it might help you to remember that this is roughly the shape of a saucepan, the sort of profile of a saucepan. So we've got the der with the e, that makes the handle, and then you have the block of four, feminine in the nominative and accusative, and neuter in the nominative and accusative, which make the pan itself. Now that pan also falls onto the indefinite article table, the a or an table, and here outside the pan it's still en, but within the pan it's three different endings. You have masculine ein and er on the end, feminine eine with e on the end, and neuter ein with es on the end. And then finally the adjective-only table, well, I'm afraid you just have to learn this, but I could speak from my own experience. The way that helped me was just to repeat them and say them. So er, ees, een, ees, een, en. Oh, em, er, em, en. I was doing the genitive line there, but we'll see that at A level. So if you learn these tables by whatever means you can, if you really want to get the top grade, you're going to have to do that. And here we are. We've got two exercises for you today. First of all, please could you copy these and fill in the adjectives with the correct ending. So you can see the adjective in the left-hand column, and we have it in the three different situations that we talked about. We have blau being blue and Wand being wall. So we have the blue wall, a blue wall, and just blue walls. And you can see that we would like you to do all three of those. And if you could write the little phrase out, not just the single word that goes in the gap, because really, unless it's in the phrase, in the context, it makes no sense. So if you could please write out die blaue Wand. Oh, that's your first answer. Okay, so die blaue Wand. That should get you going. Pause here, please, and we'll come back with another exercise in a second. Fantastic. Right. Here is a second exercise for you. This time we want you to copy out the sentences and to fill in the adjectives with the correct endings. Now remember, the adjective has to be before what it's describing, in order for it to have an ending. And that doesn't look like we've been too tricky here. Most of them do have something, but we've also missed off the ending of the ein as well, if there's one of those in there. So be careful, further down there's more things you need to add in. So please can you write out the 5 sentences, have your best shot at adding the endings that are appropriate. You will probably have to look up the gender of the nouns. They're all nouns that we should have seen in this chapter of our study. So should be nothing that you really don't understand, but if you don't know the gender, now is a good time to look it up because you can't guess. And think also about the cases that we're in. So always with es gibt, it's the accusative, and also if someone is doing an action to something, that something will be also in the accusative. And then the dative comes mainly in GCSE after prepositions, so where things are located. All the best, and we'll go through these in class.